Am I the asshole for refusing to hear anything medical about my friend's pregnancy? I am at the end of my life expectancy. It's entirely possible I could live longer because of taking good care of myself. But the average is late 30s. My mother had the same condition I do and died at age 22 from childbirth. I decided to never have children to avoid passing my disease on 50 chance or leaving children behind for someone else to raise, potentially knowing they ended their own mother's life, which was honestly a really crappy way to grow up. I joined a support group online 10 years ago, and in that time, while we have gained new members, we've lost a number to age, and a number of women to pregnancy and childbirth complications. One of my closest friends, Margie, has decided to have a baby with her husband. My platonic partner caretaker of 15 years, Jim 41M, and I live an hour away. And while her husband has been working as much overtime as he can to earn extra time off, Jim has been the one driving her to her appointments and bringing me to spend time with her so she hasn't been alone as much. My one and only rule is I don't want to know specifics about her pregnancy-related medical issues. Because of personal trauma, she is entitled to make her own decisions about her life. I'm entitled to my feelings. And I don't want to know so I can rein in my feelings and be respectful. She has a medical folder with updates about her current condition in the event of an emergency. Jim and I aren't being paid for our time, gas, etc. It's all volunteer. However, as her pregnancy has progressed and things have started to get worse, she keeps trying to slip things in. On Friday she brought it up again. I asked if she needed us to call 911 and her husband. She said no, and I lost my temper and told her, "Then stop bringing it up. I have one rule and you keep trying to break it. Unless you need medical attention, can we please talk about something else?" She cried silently for nearly an hour even after I apologized and then told Jim and I to not bother showing up for Labor Day when we left, which left her husband confused because she wouldn't tell him what happened. I gave him the number for my therapist who specializes in palliative care patients because I know she needs support, and I feel bad for hurting her feelings. But I don't want to be her therapist as she faces the reality of her decision. I don't want her dumping her health on me. Not while I'm dealing with mine. Am I the asshole? I'm going to go ahead and say not the asshole. If she agreed to not talk about it for your personal mental health, she shouldn't. If she needs someone to talk to about it, she can make another friend or hire a therapist. You were very open and honest with her and she is choosing to ignore your boundary. She needs to understand that you are offering her all of the support you are able to, while keeping yourself mentally healthy. Additionally, if she wanted to bring it up and was really struggling, she should ask you about it beforehand to give you some warning at least, rather than trying to slip it in. Edit grammar. Not the asshole. You have one boundary and she is not respecting that. She surely has other people she could talk about the medical issues. She just chooses the one person that cannot be the supportive friend in this one area. Also very sorry to hear that you are terminal. Hope you still find comfort and joy in the time you have left. I have mitochondrial disease. Is it anywhere near that disease? Mine has no cure or treatment either. I don't like the talks either. I just want to live as long as I can. Does she have the same condition as you? I understand that you want to support her, but you can't provide the full support system that she needs all by yourself. That can be said for lots of people, not just people going through what the two of you are. She should not be depending on you alone. So hopefully she takes you up on the therapist. That being said, you set forth boundaries. And if she agreed to that, she's the for trying to step on that. Not the asshole. And I wish you both the best. Not the asshole. Does Margie have the same or similar condition to you? Your post makes it seem like Margie is at a high risk of dying due to her pregnancy. But it isn't clear, and I'm not so sure why it's so doom and gloom. Either way, you're not an asshole. You are offering her lots of support, but you made your one boundary very clear and she keep violating it. Nah, y'all are doing your best. Nah, really. Sometimes you're not the right person to talk about a topic with due to your own mental landscape. You can't be her friend to talk this over with. You can be her friend for many other things. She's not wrong for wanting a friend she can talk about this with. That friend just can't be you. That sucks for both of you. It's a hard place to be. I hope both of you get what you need. Not the asshole. You are setting a boundary in order to maintain your mental health. I wish you all the best in maintaining your physical health as well. Can anyone enlighten me on what this disease is? Not the asshole, and you have me insanely curious about this disease. And I'm hoping hard that your choices mean much more longevity. Not the asshole. If it's a trigger for you, then she needs to respect your boundaries. You warned her and she's tried to ignore that. That is the behavior of a self-centered person. Not the asshole at all. You set the boundary with her from the start. You and Jim are already going above and beyond. It sounds like she is struggling with the reality of her situation. I can't imagine what it's like for her parents either, knowing that she is willingly bringing a child into the world she will not be able to care for ultimately. I wonder if that is the bigger reason they are distancing themselves versus her condition in general. AITA takes space. It sounds like your needs and her needs aren't compatible right now. She needs to find another support system for a bit. Not the asshole. Her choice is just that. Hers. You are not obligated to let her trauma dump. Especially on the one issues you've specifically asked her not to. She is TA, not you. Absolutely not the asshole. You were going above and beyond to offer her the support you could. And she repeatedly and selfishly disrespected your boundaries. It seems to be for the best that you keep your distance for now. And let her deal on her own with the consequences of her decision. Since she seems unable to respect the one clear boundary you set. Not the asshole. You're both in a shitty position, but you put down a boundary for your mental health. Her pregnancy does not trump your mental health. You're dealing with a huge issue. And for her to knowingly add to it is cruel and unfair. Pregnant people always think their pregnancy is so much more important than everyone else's lives. And it's frustrating as hell. Not the asshole. I will never understand why someone with a deadly genetic disease chooses to have children. Even if it wasn't something that was going to likely kill her just giving birth. That's if she even makes it long enough for the child to be born. Even if the odds are good that it won't be passed on. Essentially, she and her husband are playing Russian roulette with their baby's life. Of course, it is their decision. Emo. It is a very selfish one. Not the asshole. But have you had time to internalize she might not make it through the pregnancy? Maybe this is triggering you so badly because you know what might wait at the end of this lane. You need to take time and space for yourself, but also know that if you close the door completely you might not see her again, and that will be even harder to get through. Take time and reflect. Maybe try to ignore the pregnancy talk. Maybe just change the subject. But don't close and lock the door on her. Not the asshole. This is a reasonable boundary that you made to protect yourself and your friendship. Not being an asshole doesn't mean this situation isn't brutal on the both of you, but I'm proud of you for setting limitations that honor yourself and your care for your friend. Nah. I feel like if you two discussed the decision she has made, it would just get really messy and painful. What you said needed to be said in order to prevent more pain on both sides. And she needed to hear it to understand and reinforce that boundary.
Am I the asshole? For only allowing my sil into my wedding if she get pat down before she comes in. So good news, she is not coming. I didn't even have to disinvite her. Brother will be there also. I'm going to start with I don't like my sil Emily, so I need to know if I am biased in this. She is a super heavy drinker. There have been so many events that she has ruined due to her drinking. No matter what, she will bring some type of drink, even if it's a kid's birthday party. I don't think I have ever met her sober. It's a problem. Even events we tell B there is not alcoholic beverages allowed, she will bring one. Our wedding is alcohol free for a few reasons, but the biggest ones are there will be a ton of children and some people at the wedding have a bad history with it. My mother and aunt also. It saves us money to not have an open. The invited were very clear, and we also informed anyone if they do bring stuff they will be kicked out. No issue. The wedding is in a week and my sil came to the practice and was drinking. I'm sick of it, and I overheard her talking about bringing some drink anyways since the rules are stupid. I told her I am done. If she wishes to attend we will pat her down beforehand since I don't trust her with the rule, and that she doesn't have to go if she doesn't want to. My family is on my side with this, but my brother is pissed and we have been arguing constantly. He clearly thinks I am the jerk for this and I'm not backing down. I would simply uninvite her. She's clearly causing trouble whenever she can, and sober or not, I doubt your wedding will be the exception. Pat your brother down too. If he's that sympathetic, he's bound to sneak a hip flask in. I mean, it's not like your wishes for your wedding are important. Not the asshole, but you might have been better off not inviting her, as you're going to have to kick her out anyway. She's going to show up drunk. Has your brother admitted she's an alcoholic? Not the asshole. Sil cannot be trusted. I wouldn't even offer the pat down rule, just say you've had time to think about it and you do not want her there. I mean, you have never seen her sober? That's a deal breaker. Don't let her come. Not the asshole. I would just disinvite her, period. She is not worth having to worry about her getting drunk and sneaking alcohol in. Not the asshole. But as someone in recovery, I guarantee you that she will find a way around it. Drink before. Leave in vehicle and find a way to access it. Don't invite her. Or disinvite. Not the asshole. A pat down would probably not work if she is this committed to her drinking. A disinvite is the only thing that would work. Show your brother this thread. Maybe he will understand. Not the asshole. But why even bother with that put down? Don't let her attend. Problem solved. Not the asshole. You set a clear and reasonable boundary. Your sil bragged about violating it. Then you gave her the choice of proving that she didn't or leaving. She will still find a way to drink. In the past I've successfully snuck in 4 SM bottles of liquor to a concert where I was searched and patted down by 2 female security guards. So a pat down might not work. Or she'll drink first. Or she'll keep it in the car or stash it somewhere else. Also, I have no idea how much or often she drinks, but if she does decide to make this an alcohol-free night, that could be dangerous. People who drink a lot should never stop cold turkey. Not the asshole. I would not even invite her. Someone that committed to being drunk will find a way. And subjecting her to a put down while she is drunk is just going to cause a scene. You do not need this at your wedding. Not the asshole. But it kinda sounds like your sil might be at a point where she physically cannot be sober. Like, she will be ill if she is not drinking. Not the asshole. Nobody want a drunk alcoholic at their wedding. She clearly has an addiction problem, and it's not helping her to let her continue to bring drink to every event she goes. You are already accommodating by inviting her. Not the asshole, but patting her down? LOL, how is that going to work? She can just get drunk ahead of time. I have plenty of family members that will arrive super tipsy or drunk to events when they know no alcohol will be served. I'd uninvite her. Not the asshole. She is an alcoholic. Not the asshole. More concerning is your brother thinking his wife's drinking is okay. He is an enabler. I hope they don't have any children to fuck up. Stick to your guns. I think it's time for your brother to face the fact, your sister-in-law is an alcoholic. If anything, I think your sister-in-law needs some help, and your brother needs to face the music that your sister-in-law is a heavy drinker. Either she comes to the wedding sober or she doesn't come at all. Not the asshole. If you want my advice, you should ban both your sil and your brother from the wedding entirely. You know she's just gonna show up sloshed and you're gonna have to kick her out anyways, or your brother is gonna sneak in alcohol for your sister-in-law. Not the asshole. Incidentally, you should pat your brother down, too. Not the asshole, but she shouldn't have been invited in the first place. Not the asshole, your sil has a huge problem and good for you for not enabling it. If she can't attend a party without alcohol, better she not come at all. Nota, but you might want to uninvited them all together. She is definitely going to make a spectacle at the wedding. My husband just said that she's not going to come with booze, but she's going to get shit-faced right before. Uninviting her is probably your best option. Flip your thinking around. There is no way she will tolerate being sober, based on what you have said, so either she will show up wasted, get booze in, or leave. If you don't want her there wasted, you don't want her there at all. Denial is so powerful. Lots of serious alcoholics in my family and none that desperate. Not the asshole, of course. Your brother's wife has a drinking problem and he has an enabling problem. That's on them. Insisting on making their problems into everyone else's problems is unacceptable and you're not standing for it. Let security know that she is a big risk and let someone else be in charge of throwing them out if she shows up with a flask. Not the asshole. They don't have to come. If they come, they have to respect your rules. Not the asshole, but I think you have to uninvite her. My dad used to hide alcohol in the goddamn bushes outside of our apartment. Alcoholics can be resourceful and determined. Your brother should take her to the AA. X200B. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It all sounds like your sil might be addicted. Sneaking in alcohol and repeat heavy drinking even though told not to sounds a bit like it. Not the asshole. Uninvite her. It's your wedding and it is already stressing you out, so cut her out. Your brother can invite her to his wedding, but he has no say in who you invite to yours. Cut him out too if he can't stop stressing you out. Not the asshole. She can come to the ceremony, but is not welcome for the dinner. You guys can go out together for dinner after the formal wedding, where the alcohol-free rules do not apply. A good compromise for someone with alcohol issues. Your brother is enabling her shitty behavior and her drinking problem. You shouldn't have to risk your wedding being ruined by a drunk so that your brother feels better about his wife. Not the asshole. She's ill. She's an alcoholic. If you didn't want her to drink at your wedding, you shouldn't have invited her. You can disinvite her instead of humiliating her at the door. Alcohol is a horrible drug. She probably has to drink a certain amount to not have a health emergency. You should either pay everyone down or talk it out and set a boundary. I have people like that in my family and it's a shitty situation, but patting one person down is going to make you look like a monster and it's rude. Her sibling is the one who should be handling that anyway. Tell her just enough to not shake is all she can have, or not come but in private and beforehand. Not the asshole. Do not invite her. She will just pre-game or drink in her car when she goes for a smoke. Just uninvite her. Do not let her come in. Do not let her show up at all on the premises. If your brother can't handle that either, then get rid of him too. Not the asshole. Is your brother volunteering to be on Emily duty and to pull her from the venue the instant she acts up? Doubtful. Nope. Not the asshole. But, I would have uninvited her just based on what you heard. Your brother can screw himself as well if he decides not to show up. No need to go through the drama of patting her down. She can always give the package to someone else to smuggle it in. Am I the asshole? For defending my parents' choice to take money for my sister's surgery out of her college fund? I am a freshman in college, as is my sister Leah. Our parents weren't the best off growing up, but they always set aside money for us to go to college. Leah played soccer, and before her freshman year of high school our parents sat her down and told her that if she played, she needed to be careful because if she got hurt all the money to pay for it would come out of her college fund. Several schools in the league our high school is in are pretty good with a reputation for playing rough, and she isn't the biggest person, so she knew there were risks involved. In our sophomore year she had a pretty bad non-contact injury that ended up needing surgery and several months of physical therapy. All this money came out of what would be contributed to her fund, and I don't know an exact number but all the appointments and stuff were at least several thousand. Now we're both going to similarly priced schools, and she will need more loans than I do. In a group chat we're both in I made a joke about how expensive college is and she responded, now imagine paying thousands more because your parents don't want to pay for your medical bills. I privately messaged her and told her I didn't think she should be sharing personal stuff like that and that she knew the risks of soccer and chose to play anyway. She said that she was free to share something that really upset her and that I needed to stick up for her against our parents. She's argued about this many times. She said that they paid for my medical bills so they should for hers and that I was a shitty sister and is asking for me to tell our parents they should have paid. I don't think I should have to. They clearly outlined what they would and wouldn't pay for and the risks she chose to take aren't my problem. Am I the asshole here? Hold on, why did they pay for your medical bills but not hers? Not enough details here. But I'm getting the feeling you're not sharing on purpose because it would make you and your parents look like the assholes. You're the asshole and painfully obvious that you are also the favored child. Your parents should not have used the college fund, especially when they paid for your treatments out of pocket. Not the asshole, although I wouldn't have said anything to her about speaking on it in public. I would, however, clarify that she had been given a choice and is now facing the consequences. Love how you left out some key information here and just casually slip in that they paid for your medical bills and not hers. What's the story there, Opham? You on high. Ib be up job NBL high. Iobu. Sucks here. Not the asshole. Best wishes for a great school year for both of you. You're the asshole and your parents are horrible. You're the asshole. You should stay out of it. I also think your parents are assholes. This was a non-contact injury and they also paid your sports injuries. You're not to blame for your parents being assholes, but at the very least it's an extra reason to stay out of it. Did they not have insurance? Or good insurance? I can't imagine copays were that bad if they had decent insurance. I could be wrong, but why would they have two college funds but shitty medical insurance? I honestly believe they should have had insurance for their minor children and not taken from the college fund. You're the asshole and so are your parents. Your parents didn't have health insurance from a job for the family? Your sister is the asshole. She went in knowing the risks and she made the decision to proceed. Unfortunately, she had an incident and is paying for it. It sucks, but it was her decision to make and her consequences to live with. She's holding a grudge against your parents that does need to be addressed. You're the asshole. Being informed in advance makes it no less of a D-move. Parents are responsible for the medical expenses of a minor child, full stop. I don't know who the R is here, but I'm really glad I don't like in a country with either of these problems. Not the asshole took the risk stupidly. You're the asshole. I didn't think she should be sharing personal stuff like that. Guilty people love discretion. You're the asshole for telling your sister what she can talk about. She was not lying. Your parents are more the assholes for not treating the both of you equally. If your college fund was not used to cover your medical bills but your sisters were, then that is unfair. It does not matter if a young teen agreed to it. That was unfair to ask in the first place. If they had money for other things but just didn't want to use it on your sister's injury, that was horrible. Hurt her. You're the asshole. She has a right to be upset. 1. Did your parents not have insurance? 2. If they were so poor to not have insurance, they would qualify for Medicaid, which pays for surgery. 103. They paid for your medical expenses but not hers. This seems very inequitable and questionable. Your sister has a valid point. Not the asshole. Medical bills are crazy high, as well as college fees, the funds they save for her. In the end, she benefits from her parents' savings. Does insurance not cover it? Your parents and you ate a holes. Maybe you'll see that someday. You're the asshole. Good luck ever having a good relationship with your sister, oh favorite golden child. You're the asshole, and so are your parents. I hate the fact people are making the assumption Op's parents were making this decision out of malice. It is possible to just not have the money for additional expenses. I applaud Op's parents for putting money aside for their kids, considering they shouldn't have told them, so there would be no such expectation. Once again, the US healthcare system is the biggest asshole, but you are clearly the golden child. All sports have injury risk, and I know plenty of people who had medical bills despite not being athletes at all. It is a parent's responsibility to make sure their children get medical care. The fact that the US healthcare system is an exploitative joke and it costs more than it has any right to is irrelevant, because they decided your bills were important enough to pay for, but your sisters weren't. Except your sister. You're the asshole for telling her not to talk about it. Your parents are huge assholes for doing this to your sister, and you thinking it is normal or okay also makes you an asshole. Why didn't your parents have insurance? They could afford to put thousands in savings but didn't have health insurance? Who TF sits a child down and tells her that they won't be paying for medical expenses if that child plays a sport and gets injured, and they'll have to pay for the medical expenses themselves? If you can't afford to pay for these things, don't allow her to play ridiculous. A child shouldn't have to worry about that, and probably didn't even believe something would happen. She was a child. Is no one mentioning how crazy it is that someone would have to choose between healthcare or college? This is why you shouldn't play public schools sports. You destroy your body and you and your family to deal with the consequences. You're the asshole. Regardless of who is right about the medical bills, and I agree with your sister, for the record, you have no right to tell her not to talk about it. Also, if you think it's right that your parents didn't pay her medical bills, there's no reason to be ashamed of her sharing it if she shouldn't tell people. You know it's wrong. You're the asshole. How on earth could your sister control the fact that she got injured? So, if you ever get sick or injured, will you be punished for it by having it rubbed in your face and having to go into debt? Did your parents not have health insurance for you and your sister? If you think your parents did the right thing, you wouldn't be telling your sister not to talk about it. It affects her, she can talk about it all she wants. And this is another example of why shitty health insurance and for-profit healthcare sucks. Why don't you stay out of it? It's none of your business. You're the asshole. Probably should have gotten better insurance. It was a non-contact injury, odds are high it was an ACL or Achilles. My company insurance wouldn't make me pay so much it would cost my son's college fund. You're the asshole. The post leaves a lot of information out. Reading the comments from Op, she is the R1. Parents could have paid for the sister medical bill. 2 OP had an injury and the bill was paid for. 3 both her and her sister sustained non-contact injuries. 4 OP could have sided with the sister and advocated with parents. 5 sounds like the parents just had something against one specific sport, which was what her sister liked. Anyway, clear you're the asshole, if you read all OP comments. You're the asshole. Since you seem to believe that your parents have nothing to be ashamed of, your sister should have the right to talk about this whole mess of a situation. Get it together, Op. Am I the asshole? For telling my half-sister I won't name a baby after her? My husband and I have 3 children together. Our youngest was born this summer. We have always named our kids after people by not using their direct name. Our oldest girl is Jamie after my brother James, our middle daughter is Cleo after my sister Chloe, and our youngest son is Devon after my husband's best friend Divine. We spoke to each person we honored prior to finalizing the name. My siblings were so happy and my husband's best friend was over the moon. We also never publicly said, oh, we named them after these people. We would just announce the names and leave it there. After my 3rd child was born, my half-sister asked me if I would name our next child after her. I told her I would not. She asked if I would name any child I have after her, and my answer was the same, no. She was upset about this. This angered my mom, who said it was clear my kids were named after people and I shouldn't just honor 2 siblings and not honor all 3. I replied that it should be mine and my husband's choice what we name our children and who we name them after. Mom said I looked my baby sister in the face and crushed her heart and soul and told her that she is not a real sibling and only full siblings are worthy of being honored. She said I had treated a child like shit and I should have offered to let her help pick a name or something to smooth things over. But instead I said no and acted like her feelings didn't matter. My mom also had some things to say to my husband and he ignored her. He told me about it and I told her to keep my husband out of it. She said I can take the role of sole asshole. Though she said my siblings were close since they didn't care about our half-sister feeling upset either, according to mom. Am I the asshole? There was a nicer way to deliver the news to your half-sister. She is only 12. You can name your kids whatever you want, of course, but don't be a dick to a child. You're the asshole for that. Not the asshole. As long as you're not isolating your half-sister out, plus I understand it may be a name that is not to your or your husband's liking. But you will be TA, if you name your child Chile. Geez, your sister half whatever is only 12, you could have been kinder towards her. You don't have to name a child after her, but you also could have had a bit of tact. You're the asshole. Not for not naming your next child after your sister, but for the way you handled it. She's 12 years old. Show a little grace. Yes, like what you did is fine on paper and if is absolutely your choice and her reaction is shitty. But at the same time, come the fuck on. You name your first child after one of your siblings and your second child after another sibling, and then you are really surprised when your 3rd sibling is upset that she was excluded from the trend? You are in the right, but you just generally seem like a shitty person. Like you were right, but I would not want to be your friend. I am with your mom on this. You basically singles your SS out of the family. I would be pissed at you and husband if I was your mom. You seem like you dislike your half-sister and it seems like you really don't care at all about her feelings, so you're the asshole. You seem like you suck. Why the necessity of being cruel in your response to your sister, a young girl? Is there a reason for a grown woman to behave in such a manner? It would help if you explained why you approached this as you did. You are not the asshole for not wanting to name a future child after your sister. But without further context, you sure seem like a shithole of a human being for purposely being childish to a child. Utter not for the name before your demeanor, an attitude towards your younger sibling. Info: why do you hate your half-sister? You're the asshole. Judging by the way you treat your sister, you sound like a horrible parent. I predict your kids will hate you one day. So much being left out here, I don't feel like I can even give a judgment. Your mom accused you of not caring for your sister because she isn't a full sister, and you didn't care enough to deny it. So is it true? Also, what things did your mom even say to your husband? Obviously it's ultimately your right to pick your children's names, but you're not giving the reasons you wouldn't want to honor your half-sister besides biology, and as someone with only half-siblings I personally don't get it. Is the reason for the no because you don't like your sister? Or because you don't like her name? Don't see a way to rearrange it. Her name is Chile and all you could come with was Leech. I think the missing context matters here. You could have been gentler with the child though. Info, is there a reason you've never made an effort to be in your sister's life? You keep responding that you're not close, but you don't say why. You're the asshole for the way you worded it. You are an adult and you broke the heart of the child, it sounds like, on purpose. That is your sister. And she's 12 years old. I hope she's got better family than you and your siblings. You guys are awful. You're the asshole for being tactless about the issue, when your sister wasn't doing anything malicious. You're the asshole for how you handled the conversation with your preteen half-sister. You don't have to name a child of yours after her, but there was no reason to be so blunt. She likely already feels left out because of the half part, and the age gap. You could have deflected in a million ways. Instead, you pretty much said to her face that she doesn't matter to you. You're the asshole. Yeah, you can name your kids after whoever you want, but she's 12. You could have handled it better. You owe her an apology. Yes, except your little sister. Yes, it's up to you and your husband to name your kids whatever you want. But I can understand why your half-sister thought that. She's 12. From some of the stuff you said, I'm assuming you aren't close and that your mom pushes you to include her and you don't like that. I could be wrong, but there's a million of these stories. Don't blame your sister, she's a kid. You could have been nicer. You're the asshole. Yes, naming your children is solely up to you and husband. But you say you are the parent of 3 children. So I imagine you have seen your own children hurt by the words and actions of others. Every one of those experiences cut me to the core, knowing they were so hurt. And then helping them get through it and see themselves as valid. Yet you have no problem hurting the feelings of a 12 years old. For that, you're the asshole. You're the asshole. Why is it so difficult for adults to treat children decently? Name your kids whatever you want, obviously. But it was completely unnecessary and harsh to respond that way to a literal child asking to be included. You can be honest without being an asshole, you can deflect questions without outright giving answers or lying. I really hope you're more empathetic and understanding with your own children than you are with your sister. You're the asshole for not what your decision is but how you handled it. You are 16 years older than your half-sister. You have 2 full siblings, she only has you 3 half-siblings. Sounds like she might think more of you than you do of her. She is a 12-year-old child, not your child but a child nonetheless. Based on your other responses, it also sounds like some resentment on your part towards your mom and the new marriage child. Show some grace, use some tact. Your own kids will learn from watching you. There's an element of assholery there. You could have been kinder about it, she's only a kid herself, after all. I think the question here is not if you are TA, but, how is your relationship with your sisters? Do you resent her? Is hers an horrible name? Do you love her, or like her even? You don't need to say yes to her or lie, but being kind should be a giving. She is a child and you allegedly an adult. Wasn't there a nice way, mixed with emotional IQ, to tell her no? You're the asshole. It wouldn't break your queen's crown to just say something like thank you for suggesting that, I'll think about it. But now it's too soon to worry about that. Not the asshole for naming your children after whoever you like. TA for the delivery, but I don't understand, is this a hypothetical question or do you intend to have a 4th child at some point? Because if not, that was an easy way to bow out of the conversion. You sound mean. You have 3 children. You should definitely be able to convey a message like this better to a child. You're the asshole for that. You don't have to name any of your children after your half-sister. But you could have been nicer about it. She will always remember that she's not good enough to have her name or version of it shared with your kids like her and your other siblings. You don't have to name your kid after anyone you don't want to. But you're still an asshole if your telling is accurate. You're the asshole.
Would I be the asshole if I told my mom that she is the reason that she doesn't have a relationship with my kids? Long story short, over the past 13 years, my mom has either consciously or unconsciously made decisions in her life that have created obstacles to seeing her grandkids. Examples: moving to a different country and only giving me a week notice, and again moving to a state on the other side of the country when a neighboring state was on her short list of places to move to. I can count on one hand the amount of times she has been to visit my kids. One of the times she came to help with the kids, I went to take a shower and came out to the living room when I was done, and my kids 4.5 and 1.5 at the time were there by themselves with the front door wide open. Went to find my mom and she said she needed a break. So she went to the guest room and played solitaire on her iPad with her hearing aid turned off. That was the last time she was left alone with them. There have also been several times when she has not only been in my state visiting friends, but also been less than an hour drive away and still couldn't squeeze in a half hour on her way to the airport to see us. We talk on a fairly regular basis, but she never asks to talk to the kids. She constantly forgets their birthdays. Here's the kicker. Recently a family member got married. I got us an Airbnb to stay in, and I think I saw her for about 3 hours in that house total. The wedding had open seating ceremony and reception, and she actively chose not to sit with us. She is now complaining about not having a relationship with her grandkids. She keeps bringing it up and I bite my tongue every time because I know it would be a huge argument. But I don't think I can take much more. Not the asshole. Why is she surprised? Your children don't know her. She's made no effort to be part of their lives and is basically a stranger to them. She even put them in a dangerous situation. She has no one to blame but herself for not having a relationship with her grandchildren. She's done everything to avoid them since the day they were born. Mom, I'm sad you don't have a better relationship too. You know the only way to build a relationship is to spend time with them. Not the asshole. Quit biting your tongue and have a discussion with her. Tell her your views and listen to her answers. Get her side of the situation and come up with some solutions to foster a better relationship before more resentment is built up on both sides. And never leave her alone with the children. She is now complaining about not having a relationship with her grandkids. She keeps bringing it up and I bite my tongue every time because I know it would be a huge argument. But I don't think I can take much more. X200B. Not the asshole. Ever heard the farce "the truth will set you free"? You need to be honest with your mom. Sounds like she wants a postcard relationship with her grandkids, without actually spending time with them. Not the asshole. I have a grandparent that didn't make effort. And I have one that did. Guess which one I make an effort for now as an adult? If she wants a relationship with them, she needs to make an effort. Not the asshole. It's so weird when grandparents demand the kids to maintain the relationship while they are constantly Mia. Sometimes things need to be said. Because she sounds permanently checked into delusion land on the subject.
Am I the asshole? For telling my sister she is required to wear a bra at my wedding. I love my sister. And truthfully, when I say required, I'm obviously not going to kick her out if she doesn't wear one, but like she really needs to. My sister is well endowed and hates bras. When she's wearing certain items like baggy t-shirts it's not so noticeable, but in the dress that she chose, I just gave her a color she's wearing in my wedding, it will very obvious she's not wearing a bra, and one wrong move and she could be flashing everyone. Not only does it look bad, but it's also borderline inappropriate. I told her let's go shopping and she can try a bunch of different ones. I even found a boutique in our area because stores carry very few options in her size, and said I'd pay for whatever she picked out. Now she's saying I'm playing into sexist stereotypes. I'm saying that there's a good chance if you dance too hard in this dress your titty is going to pop out, and I don't think that's sexist. Am I the asshole? Nah, not the asshole. If she doesn't want to wear a bra at an official event, she needs to choose the dress that allows it. If she chose the dress that is tight fit, thin, see-through or with noticeable cleavage, she needs to wear a bra. No one wants their sis to flash her tits during their wedding. Could you suggest tape as an option, the double-sided one that holds your clothing to your skin? It may be an easier trade-off. Not the asshole. Wearing a bra for a few hours is not the end of the world. Plus, I bet she'll have more fun if she's not having to worry about accidentally letting a nip slip during the vows. Not the asshole. Part of going to a wedding is dressing appropriately. If she's one wrong move from a nip slip, she's not dressed appropriately. I say this as someone who hasn't worn a bra in years and physically can't stand it. There are other options, like stick-on bras or tape, that she might look into, or maybe she needs a different dress, but she can't do nothing. Not the asshole. There's a time and place to make the whole anti-bra, sexism statements. A wedding isn't the time or place. She should comply with this one request. Wear a bra or some type of covering over the dress for the ceremony, and then she could even change into something else for the reception. You're really not asking much here. Not the asshole. I had this issue with my bridesmaid's dress for my best friend's wedding. Had to go find a little Am I the asshole? For suggesting my wife lower her standards so that she'll be less overwhelmed? My wife and I have 3 kids, 12, 10, and 8. She is in a constant state of overwhelm and very easily irritated, constantly complaining how it's all too much. I'm of course happy to help and do my fair share for the kids or household, but it's never enough because her standards are too damn high. She insists one of us has to be up at 6:45 every morning to make sure the kids are ready and make the bus which comes at 7:45. I told her they're old enough to not need that much help already. They can all dress themselves and pour themselves cereal and milk, there's no reason we have to be up. She says that cereal isn't a good enough breakfast, they need something more substantial, especially the 12-year-old. And that the 10-year-old has ADHD and will definitely struggle without help in the morning, and anyway she wants to see them off and kiss them goodbye for the day. So she gets up, I don't, then she gets upset that I never give her a morning off when all she needs to do is just take the morning off when she wants and let the kids handle themselves. Also, she is super strict about screen time during the week and is exhausted and snappy from arguing about it with the kids and upset I don't support her strict limit of 2 hours a day. I say as long as homework is done, why not until bed? She says it's not healthy for them, they need to play outside or with games and toys, read some books, just entertain themselves in more ways than one. I agree they should enjoy other things, but not seeing why we have to make such a rigid limit. She also likes to get out on weekends and do stuff like zoos, museums etc., but then complains about the planning for the outing and how grouchy the youngest gets by the end of it, and again, I say let's just chill at home and voila, you've cut the work. I'm an engaged and active parent, I'm not trying to get out of it, but I don't think I should have to help my wife dig herself out of her own self-created holes. She creates the stress for herself and then turns to me to alleviate it, which I think is unfair. Am I the asshole? For telling her she needs to do less and then she won't need this level of help. This is how this reads. My wife is a hands-on, active parent who wants our children to have well-balanced meals, minimal screen time, and fun and stimulating outings, and that's too much work for me. I'd prefer my kids eat whatever they can find in the kitchen without bothering me, that we stay home and do nothing and the kids play on their devices and watch TV in their spare time. No wonder she's stressed. She sounds like a great parent, and you come off sounding lazy and disinterested in parenting your own kids. You're the asshole. I'm an engaged and active parent. Does anybody but you think this? You're the asshole. Breakfast, a screen time limit and weekend activities are absolutely normal standards. You're the asshole. What exactly is your definition of an engaged parent? Because what I'm seeing here is you think it's unreasonable to cook elementary and middle school aged children a decent breakfast and spend time with them so they don't rot their brain with phones and iPads. I'm an engaged and active parent. You don't sound like it. There are things a parent has to do for children in the mornings. Your youngest is 8. Cereal is nothing but sugar, a lot of moms don't want their kids to eat that every day. 2 hours of screen time is generous, not strict. You sound rather checked out. You're the asshole. You want an 8-year-old to get up, fix their own cereal, and leave for the bus on time while you sleep in? That's not an engaged and active parent. That would feel awful to me if I were a kid. You're the asshole. Trust me, your wife is already making one huge concession in her expectations by putting up with your lazy ass. You're the asshole. Get to work or it won't be long before your wife realizes how pointless you are and decides to cut you loose. You're the asshole. I was expecting some wacko Marie Kondo request, but making breakfast for the kids, limit 2 hours of screen time a day and do some family activity. I am wondering what is at this point your concept of engaged parent? Here you go, watch your tablet. You're the asshole. Your wife's expectations are extremely normal. You seem to want to get out of everything. Zero effort. You need to step up and actually parent. You're the asshole. Her rules and actions seem sensible. 3 young kids getting up and getting themselves to school on their own sounds like a zoo. And morning is a great time to have fun and productive parenting interactions. 2 hours of screen time is plenty, and it should not be permitted to displace other activities with strong positives such as reading and free play. You should be supporting her. You're the arsehole. I love how your suggestion for helping your wife is just her doing more work, the work to lower her standards. Your kids are still at an age where they could use help and support in the mornings and a healthy breakfast. She isn't wrong. Sounds like she's exhausted from planning all of this by herself and carrying the mental load. Instead of saying all of this is unnecessary and your solution being to stay at home, eat cereal and watch TV all of the time, try to be a more involved parent and partner and take some of the mental load from your wife. You're the asshole. Newsflash: you are not, in fact, an engaged and active parent. Sorry bud, but as a father myself, these are pretty reasonable standards, at least the weekday ones. Maybe half adventure half rest on the weekends. You're the asshole. I'm of course happy to help and do my fair share for the kids or household, yet you complain when she asks for help. But I don't think I should have to help my wife dig herself out of her own self-created holes. It's not like you're lifelong partners or anything. You're the arsehole for sure. She sounds like she has 4 kids tbh. They're old enough to not need that much help already. So if you leave them to get up and get ready for school on their own, are they on time for the bus? Have you actually seen this work? More than once? You're the arsehole OP because you sound lazy and actually not engaged at all. You're the arsehole. I really wanted to be on your side for this one, but nope. Your children are 8 and 10, of course they need help getting up and need a more substantial breakfast than cereal. The 12-year-old I could see beginning to get up on their own, emphasis on beginning. Your wife seems like a great parent looking out for her children's health and development with more activities than sit on your iPad and never bond with your family. Even from your point of view, you don't sound like an active parent at all. You need to read some books on parenting FR and help your wife out. I'm an engaged and active parent. No, you're not. Your will to help if the bare minimum is being done. If anyone expects more than the bare minimum, then you stay in bed and let your wife do it. You're the asshole. Yup, you're the asshole 100. Have fun being divorced when your wife decides she doesn't need a lazy do-nothing partner in her life. So let me make sure I understand: you are advocating for completely neglecting your parental duties in favor of sleeping in, not feeding your kids, not worrying about how they spend their time, not bothering with any activities or enrichment for them, and yet somehow you still think you are an engaged and active parent. You, sir, are the You're the asshole. Let me say it again: you're the asshole. Your wife's self-created holes are called parenting. Sounds like you ought to try it. Or maybe she'll get lucky and her next husband won't be worthless, lazy, and neglectful and totally unsupportive. You're the asshole. You're happy to help as long as it doesn't actually involve being engaged or active in the raising and parenting of your kids. She's overwhelmed because of your underwhelming approach to parenting. May your wife realize she's already a single parent of 3, so she may as well make it official and get some outside help. You're the asshole. Your wife is a very good parent, and you are less so. You're the asshole. You are neither an active nor an engaged parent. You're the asshole lazy schlub. You're the asshole. Your wife's standards are normal and required for being a parent. You absolutely have to be awake to get your minor children on the bus. One of them has ADHD and the youngest is 8, for God's sakes. You are not an engaged and active parent if you think 2 hours of screen time a day is too little and won't wake up to ensure your children, all 12 and under, are fed, dressed, and get to school on time. This can't be real. Your wife is overwhelmed because you can't, or won't, give a shit.